Hello everyone. Today I want to talk about the game Batman, the Telltale series for the PlayStation 4. This is the first Telltale game I've ever played. I was always interested in the Telltale games, but I was never really interested in the franchises that they had picked. I'm not a fan of the Wolf Among Us, I think it was called. The Walking Dead, Game of Thrones, Minecraft. I wasn't really interested in those. Borderlands I'll talk about in a little bit, but Batman was the first one that came along and I was like, sweet, they finally have a franchise that I'm interested in. I'm excited to play this Telltale game. So I have two things to say about this game. First thing is that I am absolutely blown away. Sign me up. I am totally on with this Telltale gameplay style. This is fantastic. I really enjoyed it. The second thing I have to say is, holy shit, their engine is terrible. I had heard people talking on the internet talking about how terrible the Telltale engine is, but I didn't believe them, you know? I thought that, sure it was bad, but it couldn't have been that bad. No, this is horrible. This game barely runs. I'm surprised that, this is one of the least polished games I've ever played on the PlayStation 4. Constant graphical errors, several audio glitches, the game crashes multiple times through my playthrough. They really need to do something about their engine because it is horrible how this game runs. It's terrible. Honestly terrible. But even through all of that, it was still a good experience. And that those need to be brought up because they're honest, criticisms of the game, and they are, jarring, and they take you out of the experience. This is supposed to be super immersive, and they just take you out of it. But overall, this is still a game that I recommend. It's still an experience that is worth having. But, man, Telltale really needs to do something about their engine because that is horrible how bad it runs. The graphics are good. I like the art style and stuff, but some of the face reactions and stuff are pretty just bad. But the game is the price point on it's pretty cheap. The length of it's good. I imagine if they tried to upgrade their engine and their graphics too much, then that'd raise the price and we'd get less content. So I don't know. I think they just need to figure out those. It needs to be polished some more. It's ridiculous that it crashed. It's ridiculous how many graphical and audio errors there were. It just needs to be polished. I'm okay with the art style and the graphics mostly. Just get rid of the glitches. So yeah, Batman the Telltale series is a good game. I'm totally sold on the Telltale experience. I bought Tales from the Borderlands Telltale game. I have a weird relationship with Borderlands. I wanted to like the game, the main games. Borderlands 2 was the only one that I really sat down with and played. I really wanted to like the game, and I played it for about 15 hours, but it got to the point where I couldn't continue on without grinding, and I really fucking hate grinding in video games. I don't think anything is more of a chore to me than grinding. So I'm not really a fan of the Borderlands games, and that's why I didn't pick up the Borderlands Telltale experiences, because, I figured since I wasn't a fan of the main games in the franchise, I wouldn't really be interested in the side story either. But now that I finished this Batman Telltale game, I want more Telltale, man. I want to experience some more of that because it was awesome. So I picked up the Telltale Borderlands game, and I'm excited to play that. I'm interested in checking it out. I mean, the gameplay in Borderlands was the issue I had with the game, but the writing was excellent. It was funny and stuff. So I'm excited to try that out. I'm excited to pick it up and see what that's all about. I'm excited to play some more Telltale, to be honest, and I'm excited for Guardians of the Galaxy Telltale. I'm a big fan of Marvel and the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I know it's not part of that, but I like the Guardians of the Galaxy movie, so I'm excited for the Guardians of the Galaxy Telltale game. I just hope that they pick a real superhero to do another Telltale game on. I mean, Batman's not really a real superhero in my mind because he doesn't have superpowers. He's just a really wealthy guy. I respect him and I include him in the superhero genre, but when I think of superheroes, Batman isn't my number one spot, And Same kind of goes for Guardians of the Galaxy. I kind of compare Guardians of the Galaxy closer to Star Wars or Star Trek because it's more sci-fi than it is superhero. You know, like when I think superhero, I think like Spider-Man, Superman, Flash, not really Iron Man, but, not really Thor either. Let me see. I'm trying to think of one more. Doctor Strange. Let's go with Doctor Strange. Hulk. I hope that they do a Telltale game on a more traditional superhero. I think that would be awesome. I think Spider-Man would probably be the best choice. I think Superman would also be good. I don't know a whole lot about the Flash, so I'd be interested in a Flash game. But yes, I am totally sold on this Telltale experience. I think it is awesome. Let me talk about the Telltale Batman game. That's what this video is about. Let me talk about that a little bit more. I thought the story was good. Let's see here. I want to say the choice options are a little bit strange. I tried playing this game true to Batman. Like, I didn't try to put myself in the character. I tried, based on what I know about Batman between seeing the movies, reading a little bit of comics, and what I know on Batman. I tried to play as Batman. Batman doesn't kill people, so he's not very brutal. I tried to be more merciful. I tried to be more, I played Batman as an icon kind of thing, So I tried to stick true to that, but I felt like there were, when it comes to conversation options, I feel like everyone kind of has a different perspective on what the words mean, and they might expect the words to be said with a certain inflection. And I feel like that's a little bit of a struggle because the way the developers say a conversation choice, when you have your conversation choice options, the ones they present, they might, think of them being said as one way, and then I or someone else might be thinking of them said in a different way. We all kind of have a different perspective on conversations, so I felt like a lot of my conversations went in a direction I didn't want them to go in, just because the way I wanted the words to be said weren't the way that they were said. So I feel like a better option, less interesting of an option, but a better option would be, you have your 4 options, your conversation dialogue. You have your silent one, which is cool. I think it's cool that they have a silent option for all the conversations, because I never really thought about that before. Just don't reply, and I actually did that a couple times. It's probably something I should have done more as Batman, because Batman's pretty silent a lot of the time. But you should have your silent option, and then instead of having actual dialogue that's going to come next, your option should be positive response, neutral response, angry response, because that's kind of how we're trying to interpret it in our head. Based on what the other character says to us, we kind of think about how we want to respond to that, and so we see the words that are given to us and we pick the one that reflects it the most. But I think it might be a little bit simpler, and it might be a little bit more clear, the enemy's talking to us. I want to respond in an angry way, so I choose the angry response option. I think that might be a good way to do it. Just in my thoughts. The only other game I've played that's similar to this is Until Dawn, and I really liked Until Dawn. But I like this Telltale experience a little bit more. I did not play this multiplayer, but I like that multiplayer is available, where you get the smartphone app and everyone has their choice in the game. I think that's really cool. I'd like to try that out. I think that would be cool for a party. I also like how it shows you the choices that you made compared to everyone else who played the game. And it shows you, you and this other percentage of people chose this choice. I thought that was really cool. So this experience is awesome. Let me see, there were some other things I wanted to talk about. The story. The Joker's in this, and that's kind of a spoiler, but it's also he's not super important to the story, and it's also Joker is going to be in a Batman game. You weren't expecting that. But I really like what they did with the Joker. It's kind of a younger, earlier, before his prime Joker, and that's really interesting. I haven't seen very much of that, so that was cool to see. I liked what they did with the Joker, but I wish they had done more. And I understand that, kind of the lead-in that there's going to be a sequel to this game is that it's going to be more focused on the Joker. But, the Joker appears in Chapter 4, and you spend the beginning of the chapter with him. But I wish, there was a little bit of an epilogue, an after-credits scene that has to deal more with the Joker. Kind of explains, a little bit, how he got out of Arkham, and kind of what he's doing next, because we see him a little bit at the end, but it's just like a little tiny fragment. I wish there was just a little bit more to give us, just a little bit more Joker. I would have liked that. Also, like the ending of the game wasn't as bombastic and big as I was hoping. You know, I felt like this was like a really big epic experience, and the ending was just a little bit lackluster to me. I'm satisfied with it, and it wraps up the story nicely, but I was hoping for just something a little bit more dramatic. And like a stronger twist. Like there was a little bit of a twist, kind of. You kind of learn a little bit about the main bad guy's backstory, and that's interesting. But I just wish that the ending was a little bit bigger and more bombastic. Also, the final fight I think is pretty ridiculous. This Batman is like a more human Batman than I've seen before. I feel like, you know, in other versions of Batman, when he puts on the suit, he is, you know, he's not a superhero like, you know, in like a traditional sense, but he pretty much has super strength. He's pretty much invincible in that suit. But in this, I feel like he's more of a human Batman. Like he puts on the suit, but he's still very much like a weak traditional human. You know, like a standard human strength. And so that final fight, even as a more human Batman, I feel like he would have kicked the enemy's ass. Like that final fight went on too long for like what I expected of Batman. I mean, he's going up against this enemy who like barely has much powers. I don't imagine they have very much strength. I'm saying they because I don't want to reveal who it was. I'm trying not to spoil the whole game here, but you know, I feel like that final fight, like he could have kicked that person's ass in a split second. I think it went on way too long. Like that, it should have been just like he kicked him in the face and it's fucking over. You know, I thought they were too strong on Batman. I didn't see that enemy having that much strength. So I feel like the final fight, the ending of the game wasn't bombastic enough, and the final fight went on too long because Batman would have kicked their ass in a split second. You know, even as the more human Batman, I feel like he still would have kicked their ass in a split second. But yeah, that's all I have to say about the game. Overall, it was a good experience. I'm very, very happy I played this. I'm very happy I got it, and I'm totally sold on the Telltale games. This is fantastic. There's some errors along the way. I thought the story was mostly good, but I think the ending could have been a little bit better. Obviously, like I said, the engine of this game is just terrible. It's almost inexcusable how poorly it runs, but it's good enough that it doesn't completely ruin the experience. You can still have a good experience, even though you're going to have some glitches along the way. But overall, Telltale, Batman Telltale is a game I do recommend. You should play it, and I'm excited for more. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Leave a comment letting me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next one.